there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. This is take 2 of this week's Mixed Media Fun video because I don't know what happened. The first one was just insane. So this is the page I did, and we're gonna do some of these techniques over here. So what I worked on over here was I in my last video where I did the gelatin printmaking, this is the page. You know, I did some individual sheets which we're gonna use in a second, and then every once in a while I just printed right in my journal with the gelatin plate and got this really cool background. Then I started layering and stamping with gesso and lots of fun. But the video just was not representative of art or good crafting or good video or anything like that. So I decided I would work on the adjacent page. This is something I haven't done yet because I have a page on the back, but I was going to try to keep it all as kind of its own, each page, only one thing on a sheet, and this video is not coming out any better. Oh well, yeah, people say they like it when I keep it real, so. Alright, so what I'm going to do is actually start by painting some Mod Podge on this page, and you know what, I think I'm actually going to put my little cutting board underneath this. There we go. That way if I have any seeping over the edges, it's not going to damage any other pages of my book. So I'm just going to give it a nice coat of the Mod Podge. I like that because it doesn't seem to wrinkle my paper that well, or that much. This is the Canson Mixed Media Journal that I'm working in, that I got from Oriental Trading, and it's got 98-pound pages, which I'm really liking. And I think this pad has been around for a while, because after I said I was using it, a lot of people chimed in and said they really enjoyed that as well. So what I'm going to do is actually just kind of layer on some of my jelly prints, but I'm going to let them hang over the edge, and later I'll trim it off so that it is the right size of the book. So I did a bunch of the prints yesterday, and I was really happy with the way they turned out. I want some irregular edges, so I'm going to tear some and glue them down. And I'm not going to worry about, I'm going to make sure, this is dry before I close up my book, but I'm really not going to worry too much about getting any Mod Podge overspill. It's more important to really get to the edge of your pages so that you don't have pages curling up, so you don't have the little layers curling up. I've actually been playing in my studio all morning, the kind of unproductive play. My son had an eye appointment this morning, so whenever I have a appointment or something, I never really hold out much hope that I'm going to have a very productive day, although it was first thing in the morning. Went to Tim Hortons afterwards. It's our little thing. My son loves to go to Tim Hortons and get a muffin, or I like to call it a cupcake. So they read off the options. So I get my black coffee. It's actually still going right here. And I find my coffee gets so cold down here, but just having a lid on a cup is amazing. It keeps it so much warmer. So anyway, there's deals, and you get the muffin and the coffee for $3 or whatever. So they read off the choices of muffins, so my son can pick what he likes. And there's like blueberry and flaxseed and all those lovely things, and then triple chocolate delight. Yeah, that's what he chose. Triple chocolate delight. Breakfast cupcake with an orange juice. Oh my gosh. He'll be alert today. At least for a little while this morning anyway, he'll be alert. Alright, let's see. What else do we want to put on there? We'll do a little more. We'll do something else to fill this up. I had some different options here. Maybe this green one, because it's just got a nice contrast. So I'm just going to tear some. So you'll notice when you tear, if you pull away from yourself, the top piece will not be deckled, or you won't see the white. If whatever one you pull one up, the one on the bottom will typically be the one that has the white edge. So if you like that, if you don't like it, you can kind of plan accordingly. So I'm just trying to figure out exactly how I want this. I might tear some of that up. And the nice thing about if you do the gelatin printmaking is you have so many pages when you're done. It can almost be overwhelming, because it's like, oh, I've had so much fun, I made all these backgrounds, what the heck am I going to do with them? Because that's a lot of backgrounds, and so I'm just trying to use some of them up, because otherwise they kind of go, I put them in my paper storage and then forget about them. So this way, hopefully that will not happen. If you don't want to get like glue on your book, if you don't like this kind of devil-may-care approach, you can just put a piece of wax paper down and glue on that. That's what I would do if I had a little tiny thing. to glue. I will be trimming this. off there. So now I've got this background here. Now, I don't really need a birdcage on this page, but I wanted to show you how I stamped it because I use gesso and it's kind of a fun technique. And what I do is I just take I save my plastic packaging whenever I get something like that. Now I want to show you two different things that I use. So one is just straight gesso, and one is gesso with white paint. Actually, mostly white paint with a little bit of gesso. Okay, so the advantage of gesso is that it is very toothy and quick drying. It's great for what it's designed for, which is priming raw canvas. Hopefully I can get this lid off here. So I had a gallon of gesso, had it for, 100 years, and I put some in a squirt bottle. Now see, it's very milky. It's a consistency of milk. I could brush that over there to give me a place to add colored pencil, give me a nice tooth. Now this is, I needed something, I needed some white paint. I actually was out, and I was afraid I was going to run out in a class I taught last night. So I took some white flat house paint and I mixed that with some gesso. And look how much thicker that is. So that, that's going to dry a little bit slower. It's flat, but it's not quite as flat as the gesso, so it's just, different. You can use white house paint in place of gesso if you wish. So, actually, instead of doing the birdcage, I think I'll do some of the birds that came in this kit. Let me show you this birdcage. You can see it here on this page. I stamped it with white gesso and went over it with colored pencils. And my stamp is still wet because I just washed it, because you always want to wash your stamps after you use them with gesso or acrylic paint, because otherwise the paint will get lodged into the stamp and it could ruin it. Let me pause this so I can grab a stamp mount. There we go. So actually I like this corner here. Why don't I stamp this, and I'll show you. This stamp mount's a little small, but it'll be fine for this. Let me first stamp it with the flat latex paint, which is like, a house, just of house paint. It's very much thicker, It's thicker. So I can stamp it right here in that corner. It doesn't even really show up that much over there. Can you even see that? Let me just tip that up a little bit. It's really, you really can't even see that. Let me stamp it with the gesso. Let's see if that will show up anywhere. Oops, that's going on there. A little bit thicker. I'm kind of wondering if this video might not be very usable either. Let's just stamp that there. So the gesso, even though it's thinner, it does show up better. So I was curious to try those side by side. So that's good to know. And of course, you could mix it with some texture paste or latex caulking to make it thick if you want some thicker techniques, if you want to use it as stencil paste and stuff like that. So, I'm just trying to use a little gesso just to kind of give you an idea of what you can use it for. So I was going with this bird theme for this page, and I cut out some pattern paper, and I stamped that bird cage and colored it with colored pencil. And then I got this quote, but it was really too big to go on that page too, so that's part of the reason I wasn't that thrilled with that video. I found this quote, and it says, use what talents you possess. The world would be very quiet if no birds sang there except those that sang best. So other than just butchering that quote, it's kind of a nice quote. And I was thinking about this. I saw this commercial, and it was for Dove True Beauty. It was the Dove patch, and I started watching it, and actually it was funny because it was one of those, I don't know if you notice on some of my videos, you'll see advertisements before the videos play. That's how I pay the bills, actually. So hey, if you watch those videos, that's totally awesome. But those commercials. But anyways, I was drawn into this commercial, and they had these ladies, and they were just talking about, their insecurities and stuff, and they tried this new product called the Dove patch, and it and they were talking about how they felt so much more confident, and their skin looked better, and they actually had the nerve to talk to a guy, and all this stuff, and it was just so inspirational. I'm watching it, I'm like, oh, I want one of those. I want to not feel like I have to put makeup on to go out of the house and stuff like that. And then at the end, they said, well, do you want to know what's in it? Flip over the packet. You can read the ingredients, and it said nothing. And I'm just like, oh, they were beautiful all along, And so anyways, I thought, aw. So that's the same thing about that quote, It doesn't matter if you're the best singer. It doesn't matter, do your best. It's all beautiful. And so I like that. So I thought that would be really good to go in my journal. So yeah, I was just like, aw, I want a Dove patch. What's in it? I was totally sucked in. So like, I think everybody kind of feels like they don't have the right to, do something, or they're not talented enough, so why should they even bother, or what do they have to give? But everybody has something to give. I am gonna press this down with the wax paper. That way if there is any glue, any Mod Podge squeezing out, it's going to, it will, you know, it'll be clear on my page. I won't get it all over my hands. And there, look how nice and flat that sticks down. I love my Mod Podge. Alright, so I'm actually going to stamp a couple birds down because I want to dry it and show you the technique of using the colored pencils over the gesso because I think it's kind of fun. And I'm going to stamp it in this area here because it's dark and I'll have the contrast with the white gesso. So so many people have been talking about gesso, so I felt like I really ought to, show it. And again, I'm gonna say this many times because I don't want you ruining your stamps. Make sure that you clean your stamps with, I mean, even just water and a toothbrush. Just get the gesso off of it, or acrylic paint, whatever you're using. So bold stamps work the best for this technique because it's not stamping ink and we're not stamping on a very solid surface. I get that bird silhouette. Maybe I'll stamp that one again. This is just a little disposable makeup applicator here. And so this will, I wouldn't soak it, don't pop your stamps in water. I would maybe, like, if you have to, just spray a little water on it, but get right to cleaning it. If you soak your stamps in water, you get them too wet too often, the rubber can come off of the foam. So that's the other thing I want to caution you about. Just wash it and dry it up. Make sure it's nice and dry so you don't end up separating anything. Let's stick that right in there. Alright, I'm going to pause it while I dry this, and then I'll show you how I go over it with a colored pencil. I'll zoom in a little bit too to make it easier to see, so hang on a minute. Okay, the other nice thing about gesso is that it dries really quickly. So I'm kind of happy that people have been, like, kind of mentioning that they want to learn more about this because I've had it. You know, I use it, and the only time I ever used it before was just for, like, when I would go to the fabric store, and I would go to Martin's, which is, it's a store in Maine. They have a huge fabric department, and it's way cheaper than other stores. So I would get canvas by the bolt for like $3 a yard, and I would stretch my own canvases because it was so much cheaper. So I'm just coloring over this with my Color Soft pencils. These are from Oriental Trading as well as the book. And so I mean, that was my lightest one, and you can see how much it shows up. And you get some really great texture. Because of the jelly print making, you get this this really cool little texture, and then the gesso adds a little more tooth so you can go over it. Now here for this one, I think I want to keep some whiter area, so I'm actually going to go in there with my white pencil first, which isn't really going to show up, but it's going to kind of protect some of the white. And I think I might do some pinks on this one. So I'm going with a little bit of a shadow here. It really shows up against the green really well. Move that back wing a little bit. And then this light pink. I'm getting used to these Color Soft pencils. I typically use Prismacolor, but I've just been trying these out. They were given to me by Oriental Trading to try out, and I do enjoy the Derwent brand of products, so it's always fun to try something new. I don't think they're as creamy as the Prismacolors, but they offered me my choice of what I wanted to try out, and I already had Prismacolors. They have Prismacolors too, so just to, I think I prefer Prismacolors. They're both good, but I think I do prefer the Prismacolors. I think I'll do this blue, this bird blue, and again I think I'll go in with this light first, just to kind of protect some of the color I want to protect. This is just such a fun technique. I think I could just hang out and color on this all day, which would be, you know, don't worry, I won't make you watch. Oh, I like this color blue though. But the nice thing is, though, I did use these with my Prismacolors. It's just like markers. You can mix and match and use your materials together. You don't have to have all one color. I have one box of pencils actually, because before I invest in a set, I would try a couple and like buy a couple open stock. You can buy them for like a couple bucks a piece usually even less, like $1 a piece or something like that in a lot of cases. And I would try them out, and if I really liked them, then I would invest in the set. But you know, it's a cheaper way to kind of learn if you're gonna like it or not. I like that bird there, that's cute. And you know, you can do some doodling too. So like I can add some swirls. That didn't really show up. Let me go in with the white. I don't know how well the colored pencil is going to stick on top of the jelly prints because I used an artist acrylic, which has a little bit of a sheen to it. I might totally regret this in a minute, but we won't know until we try it. And of course, you know, if you're totally bored and you get the gist, you can, you know, stop watching. I might do something fabulous though. I don't know. I honestly don't know because I'm just kind of winging it here. You know, you can, oh, and I think that's even going to be on the part that I chop off anyway, so that's not a big deal. You know, you can play with your materials, see how they react on top of the prints. This paper too that I printed on, that I glued into my journal, was just typing paper, but it was the Nina 80 pen. No, it wasn't the. It was the Classic Crest, but it was just the you know, the typing paper weight, so it wasn't very thick, and it was very smooth. So here's what you do when you get to the end and you're kind of like, all right, I want to trim this down now. I think my Mod Podge is probably also dry, so what I'm going to do is I'll actually flip it over and we'll see the other side of the journal page. Let me zoom out a little bit. So what I'm going to do is just kind of flip it over, because remember that we did that page last weekend, and I'm just going to use an X-Acto knife to just cut along here, and I'm going to use the edge of the page as my guide. You know, you might want to not be so lazy and grab a ruler, but I think that I can manage this. Let's hope. And this is actually going to be a nice sturdy page between the, I'm going to flip this all the way over. I'm feeling like I don't have enough control here. This video, the video for this page I posted last weekend. So if you want to find that, you can. It was all about using your stencils. I just want to make sure I don't cut too deep and cut through my Dollar Tree mat. I like these flexible mats. They come in a 2 or 3 pack from the Dollar Tree, and they're 99 cents for the 2 pack, but they're great for sliding in between my my pages in my journal, because it protects the page underneath from ink spills and you know, my knife and heat. Well, no, it doesn't really protect it from heat. It will actually warp if you heat them up, but it will, you know, it does a good job there. So actually, let's see how we have now. You know, there's only so much you can do in 20 minutes as far as decorating a page, but I'm actually pretty happy with that. So there you have it. I'm just going to turn this a little bit so you can see it better. If you have any questions or any topics you'd like me to cover on some of these videos, then leave a link. Oh goodness, leave a link, leave a comment, that'll work, and just mention what you'd like to see me cover, and I'm kind of compiling a list so I can kind of get to everybody's interests and ideas. So there you have it. I also want to mention these Micron pens. I did a little test out today, and I did my journaling with my Micron pens, which are, here's one so you can see, and I was able to go over it with my alcohol markers, and it didn't make it bleed, so I think that's pretty cool. There's a pigment in here, but it's not alcohol, and you can use it and then color over it with watercolors or with the alcohol pens too, which is, I think, just awesome. So thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. If you have questions, leave them below. Please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. And until next time, happy crafting.